our city standards over the last couple of years is one of the other things that we changed was we went from seeding, which works great depending on the weather and the amount of moisture and some other factors that are often beyond our control, but now we do sod.
Okay. Cool.
So the contractor will maintain it for 45 days. After that, it becomes the homeowner's responsibility. We'll replace anything that doesn't grow or isn't growing at the end of the 45 days. Make sure to take my business card.
All right, yeah, I was gonna say,
Process
is there
for-
any more
for
like the
that.
storm sewer, are you gonna add any more drains at all, or no?
Not in your neighborhood.
Okay. All right, let's continue on with the public hearing. Anybody else here to address council for the public hearing on this? For this project?
My name is Laura Wood. Excuse me. I live at 10930 Exeon. Very close to Mr. Lewis, and it's sort of piggybacking on something that he said that Mr. Hanson could hopefully answer. When they talk about replacing curbs, in our cul-de-sac, we have no curbs. It's just like a little U. And that's what you're gonna be dealing with, because we don't have curbs, we don't have sidewalks in our cul-de-sac. It's like,
Well,
like I say, it's a little half circle.
It's what we call a surmountable curb. And we don't have a lot of flexibility in changing the style of curb
And we don't need a curb.
because if we do, we start to adjust the driveway slopes beyond what's gonna be acceptable for most people. It's either gonna make the driveway steeper, or in the worst case, it could create backfall in a driveway. We don't ever want to cause that situation.
No, and that wasn't my question. I didn't
Yeah,
mean to lead you in
so,
that direction. My question is that we don't have curbing. You said the curbing would be replaced.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is we have that little slope by our
Yeah.
mailbox. We share the
Sure.
same mailbox stand. And so that will be dealt with and taken
Yes,
care of,
everything, all of the curb is scheduled to be replaced in your cul-de-sac.
even though it's not a curb, quote unquote.
It's
semantics, I
it's a
guess.
curb along the
No, a
road.
curb is up.
No, it's
No.
a curb. It's a new style curb. It's a B
It's-
curb.
It's
not
surmountable
changed.
curb, we call it.
Okay. One of the other questions I have is, I know our water mains aren't being done on Exeon, but all year long, even in the winter, you see the water truck coming down to the end of our cul-de-sac, taking off the manhole and shoving something down and sucking something out. What is going on there? Because, like, again, Mr. Lewis said, it was 3 years ago, January, when we had that pipe break on 109th, and all of a sudden our pond raised level, and
Yeah,
it
it
was
wasn't a pipe break, it was a valve.
valve
but
break.
A little
I'm
different.
Sorry, yeah. But why are they always coming to our cul-de-sac doing that flushing?
I'd have to talk to our utility supervisor to get an exact answer, but I would surmise that if they are dealing with a manhole, it is with the sanitary sewer, and we are just cleaning it out as part of our routine maintenance, making sure that the sewer works for
Okay.
you and your neighbors, and we don't have any backups.
Good to know, appreciate them doing
There are no
that.
manholes associated with the water main distribution system.
Well, it's the circle disc in the road. I don't know what you call it, I call it a manhole.
Yeah, It's probably the sanitary sewer.
And where if you're replacing the sod as needed, what about at the end of your driveway, have beautiful garden area with bread bricks?
Okay, that's a
That'll
great
be-
question. We often run into that. We would ask you to, if you want to make sure that there are no impacts to those encroachments into the public right-of-way, we would ask you to move them out of our way before we start, and then put them back after.
That's up to
If
the
you can't
homeowner.
do that, it's up to the homeowner. If you're not able to do that, then the contractor will do his best to work around it, but we can't guarantee that they won't be impacted.
Okay. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else to address council on this project? Yes, sir.
Chris Barrett, 11053 Avocet. So, kind of a weird question. Has there ever been a motion to pay more to have the rest of your driveway done? Because they're already ripping, so many feet out at the bottom. Obviously, my driveway is age of home. Has there ever been an option to, hey, can I pay a little bit more and just, while they're already ripping out my driveway, rip out the rest and put a new driveway in?
So when the contractor is there working,
Yep.
Mr. Hanson, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of this information would have been in
Yep.
the frequently asked questions that went out
Okay.
to the homeowners, or they're available online. But that would be between you and the contractor.
Okay.
The rest of your driveway is on private property.
Yep.
As part of these projects, we don't go onto private property.
Okay.
We only work in the public right-of-way. So if the contractor is willing, and sometimes they are, but not always, you can get a quote from them.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have a long list of contractors that pull permits that you can select from, all their contact information. Just send me an email and I will get that list to you.
Sounds good, thanks.
And you have about a week and a half to apply for the front door program, right? That's up until March 1st.
What's that?
Check this, different topic,
Yep.
but check with the city's website.
Okay.
It's, one of the gentlemen here just mentioned it. It's helping people with the curb appeal, including driveways, things like that.
Okay.
So, okay. Anybody else here to address council on this public hearing? No? One more time. Anybody to address council, public hearing, public assessment for this particular project? All right, then we will close this one out. And, sorry, so we've held the hearing, and now we're looking to adopt resolutions.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Kicker,
I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 20-1 sub 6A, ordering the improvements, and also adopt resolution number 20-1 sub 8, approving
Mr. Brody, you want them
plans.
separate?
All right, fair enough. All right. Yep.
Second.
So we have a motion by Kicker and a second by Demmer to adopt resolution number 20-1 sub 6A, ordering the improvement. Any discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilmember Griscoviac,
we're going to hold the public hearing for the other next?
correct?
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. I believe that would be your supermajority there. All right. Councilmember Kicker, you want to take that second
Sure.
one now?
Let's do the second one now. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 20-1 sub 8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? You got it in there, Councilmember Geisler. All right, that motion carries. And that was item 5. And now we are on to item 6, which is project 20-2 sub 6A and 20-2 sub 8. Mr. Hanson, you want to talk about the specific things about this project, and then we'll do the public hearing on it as well.
That's correct.
Quite a delay here.
So our city project 20-2 consists of 2.3 miles total. These are mainly collector or municipal state aid roads with a small segment of local street right across from Morris By Elementary School. The project will include resurfacing of the road, replacing any damaged curb and gutter, driveway, and sidewalk panels, repairing any storm and sanitary manholes. We will be performing selective valve and hydrant replacements, as well as water main replacements along Crooked Lake Boulevard and 113th Avenue. And then new sidewalks in certain segments of 113th Avenue, Crooked Lake Boulevard, across from and near Morris By Elementary School, and then along Riverdale Drive and Northdale Boulevard. A little bit more detail on the project. 113th Avenue goes from Coon Rapids Boulevard to Crooked Lake Boulevard. There is the green highlighted segment of sidewalk on the south side that we would be adding as part of this project, and then replacing water main from Crooked Lake Boulevard to just past Ivywood Street. Crooked Lake Boulevard, that project area includes the reconstruction of Crooked Lake Boulevard from north of Northdale Boulevard, where the county left off with improvements in 2014, and then bringing that up to past around 123rd and then over to 124th with some mill and overlay improvements, but a majority of the project will be reconstructed through our full-depth reclamation process, and then the water main pipes on this street are also proposed to be replaced. And then, as I had indicated, there's sidewalk segments at formerly County Road 79 and then Northdale Boulevard, Riverdale Drive from the west city limit over to Northdale Boulevard, and then Northdale Boulevard from Riverdale Drive to Round Lake Boulevard. This would be a complete reconstruction. We would replace any valves and hydrants that need to be replaced in this area and then add sidewalks, of which there are none in this area today. A lot of these, the work that we would propose to do, we would look to do outside of normal hours. We did this when we reconstructed Riverdale Drive north of Northdale Boulevard three years ago. We did some overnight paving, and we also did some late operation valve and hydrant replacements just to help accommodate the businesses in this area better. We did receive written objections for 4 different properties in this area. There's hard copies I presented to council. They're also included in this presentation. They are for the properties owned by HJ Development, 2 on the west side of Riverdale Drive, and then 2 on the east side. And that is all that we have received for written objections so far. Be happy to take any questions that you have at this time.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Hanson on this project? I don't think so. Okay. We ready to open the hearing?
Mhm.
All right. So in regards to Resolution 20-2 sub 6A and 20-2 sub 8, the 5 streets mentioned here, the Riverdale Drive, Northdale Boulevard, Crooked Lake Boulevard Service Road, and 113th Avenue. We'll open the public hearing on that. Is anybody here to address council for the public hearing or the assessment hearing on that project? Anybody here to address council during the public hearing or the public assessment hearing on this project? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And
Your Honor,
Councilmember Demmer.
just one thing real quick. So a bunch of people, got a fairly large bill and they came in and were part of the process and were very respectful and calm and civil, and just wanted to call that out just quickly to thank everybody, because it's not, it's what we all hope we can all expect, but I just do appreciate that even when people get news they don't love, that they come and ask good questions and do so respectfully. So, thank you, everybody. And then I would move to adopt resolution number 20-2 sub 6A, ordering the improvement.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. All I would add is that that's kind of the norm here.
I know, and
You know.
we should remember how lucky we are that it's the norm
Absolutely.
here.
Yes, absolutely. All right, any discussion on that? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. And that motion carries. And Councilmember Demmer was an aye
Geisler.
over here. Geisler was an aye, yes.
And then, Your Honor,
Councilmember Demmer,
move to adopt resolution number 20-2 sub 8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids.
Second.
motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Mr. Brody, what do we typically see? Do we typically see, we've got those letters of objection? Now they have an option to pursue it?
What they've done is basically preserve their ability to appeal, or I guess, putting it in non-legal words, fight the assessment. In order to do that, they had to have filed that objection by tonight. They'll have, I believe, 30 days, once we do, if we do adopt these assessments on May 5th or sometime thereafter, they'd have 30 days to file that in district court to continue that process if they so choose.
Okay, so this basically allowed them that opportunity
Allows
to
them to go on to the
continue
next step
if they want.
if they
Okay,
want to.
thank you.
I will be
Mr.
reaching
Hanson?
out to each of the property owners that did file a written objection and just let them know that the progress of the meeting tonight and what the next steps would be.
Thank you.
Okay. I would say between the water main breaks in the one area and the terrible condition of that road by Riverdale, you would think they would want the project to go forward, you know. All right, we are on to item 7. Consider resolution 19-12B sub 8, approving plans and specifications for Port Riverwalk Phase 2, streets and utilities, and authorize solicitation of bids. Oh, thank you, Port Riverwalk. I was back in Riverdale going, why do we have a project from 2018 here? But I went, oh yeah, Riverwalk, oh yeah. All right, so let's see. City Council adopted HRA 18-3 authorizing a purchase agreement. And we're still gonna close on that in a few days, 21st yet? We closing with Centra on the 21st yet?
Mr. Mayor, that is the plan. We're proceeding. I've got a packet of documents for you and several others to sign this evening, so that's our goal.
Okay, all right, thank you. So we are looking to do plans and specifications and ordering advertisement of bids for the Phase 2 streets and utilities to serve that development.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Geisler?
I will actually make the motion to recommend council adopt resolution 19-12B sub 8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for the proposed Phase 2 streets and utilities to serve Port Riverwalk housing redevelopment.
I'll second that.
Motion by Geisler, second by Johnson. Discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilmember Griscoviac?
I think you answered the question, but I just wanted to make sure. There's those title issues with the piece of land yet, so is it my understanding that the title issues, the plat with the county, that's all squared away now before we bid on this?
Councilmember Griscoviac, yes. All the title issues have been addressed. We have the plat Mylars. They're sitting in a conference room. They're gonna be signed, among other documents. So, yeah, we're at the finish line.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. And we are excited.
Yes, we are.
All right. Item 8 is to consider resolution number 20-5 sub 8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for the annual street maintenance program. The city of Coon Rapids has served as lead agency for the street maintenance program since its implementation in 2004, and it is now comprised of 13 cities. The joint power agreement allows members the option to participate in all, some, or none of the street maintenance services every year, and the program offers street maintenance material items and services, including seal coating, pavement markings, crack sealing, and fog sealing. Cities participating in the 2020 program include Andover, Anoka, Arden Hills, Brooklyn Center, Columbia Heights, Circle Pines, Coon Rapids, East Bethel, Fridley, Ham Lake, Matomidi, Mounds View, and St. Francis. The city of Coon Rapids will participate in fog sealing of 12.75 miles of streets, 29 cul-de-sacs, and 6 knuckles, pavement markings, and crack sealing. Staff has prepared plans and specs for council consideration, and if we authorize the project to move forward, it'll be advertised February 21st and February 28th. Bids will be received on March 13th, and city staff will tabulate bids and provide a recommendation to participating cities who will have 30 days to submit comments or opt out of the project as outlined in the joint powers agreement. Award of the contract would be considered by council at the April 21st, 2020 meeting, and weather permitting, work is expected to begin in early May and be completed no later than October of 2020. Anything- Councilmember Kicker?
I make a motion that the council adopt resolution number 20-5 sub 8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for the 2020 street maintenance program.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 9 is to consider a feasibility report and order a public hearing and assessment hearing for street reconstruction project 20-3. And this is and this would be scheduling a public hearing on April 7th. And I'm just looking for the streets. Mr. Hammer?
This is the northern projection of University Avenue, north of Main Street, in front of the Blaine High School. So it's kind of a precursor to what we just saw.
Oh,
the
okay,
assessment
so-
hearing. So this just sets the date for that next group. Since City of Blaine is running this one, we were a little behind them, and so this just gets us through the 429 process.
Thank you. It was on the map with all the rest of the streets, so I was trying to figure out where the breakdown was. All right, very good. Council have any questions, or you want to move this forward?
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer?
Take them all at once. All right, move to adopt resolutions number 20-1 sub 4, accepting feasibility report and ordering a public hearing on improvement for April 7th, 2020. Resolution number 20-1 sub 10, declaring the cost to be assessed and ordering preparation of proposed assessment roll. And resolution number 20-1 sub 11, setting an assessment hearing date for April 7th, 2020.
Second?
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. Discussion? Everything okay over there, Mr. Brody?
What we're looking at, just give us 1 second, the resolution numbers of the memo don't match the attachment, so we just want to,
It's 20-3.
Oh,
Should be
change those
-3.
-1s to -3s.
thank you.
All right. That's why you get the big money. You're paying attention to that stuff.
It's those two. It was just a messenger.
Make sure you've seen the same thing.
All right, any other discussion on that?
They set me up.
Set you up. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. We are on to item 10. To consider resolution number 20-8 sub 8, accepting plans and specifications for miscellaneous trail reconstruction and authorizing solicitation of bids. This is to include Dahlia Park, the sidewalk to trail conversion and with pedestrian curb ramp installations. Wintercrest Park trail reconstruction, pedestrian curb ramp installations, and Woodcrest Park and neighborhood trail reconstruction, pedestrian curb ramp installation. The Dahlia Park one might be a little clearer if that one also said end streets, because it's actually running between Crooked Lake Boulevard and Dahlia Street and not really in the park, but it's that trail, so. Anybody need anything on this one, or
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer?
I do have a couple of questions. So I'm really glad to see those Woodcrest neighborhood ones. They are really in bad shape. But the Wintercrest one, we had done half of that Parks Trails not terribly long ago. And so this picks up the other half, the part that wasn't done before. But the drainage down that part that we're fixing now has already started to degrade the stuff that we just did a few years ago. So there might be more to do than just pave it, because it got bad in a hurry.
I got that. If I remember correctly, we actually did that. We kind of self-performed the drainage piece around there, so.
Yeah, I mean, the new drainage is good. but the stuff that comes down that trail that we're gonna fix, has already started to kind of wear away the new pavement. So I don't know. Just take a look at it and make sure we're not fixing it every 5 years.
Certain.
All right. Any other discussion on this? Mr. Hammer, any idea when we're going to do that, when we're going to do these projects?
I know why you're asking, Mr. Mayor.
The great Karnak over there.
As we set out the specifications, I mean, the contractor has some say in what that is, and so if they can't complete it in time for the race, then it'll have to delay and come in after the fact. So it'll all depend on where they start and where they go and what bids we get and when the contract starts, so.
Okay, yeah.
If we can do that one first, we'll certainly try to get it done, but if it's not a guarantee it's gonna be done, I'm not gonna open it up.
Okay, no, very
We'll
good.
live with it for one more year.
And for those following along at home that are curious what we're talking about, the Firecracker 5K and 10K has become a very popular event here now with hundreds and hundreds of runners showing up, and this trail is part of that route. So, very good. Thank you. Any other discussion on this? Here.
Your Honor?
Yes? Should we start with a motion? Didn't we have one?
Oh. We didn't yet, right? No.
Oh, well, maybe we should start with one
I was
then.
gonna try.
Oh, you-
Adopt resolution number 20-11, sub 8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement of bids for the 2020 miscellaneous trail improvement project. Wait a minute now. Your resolutions don't match again.
Again,
Is this one an 8 or an 11?
20-8.
All right. I'm gonna make it 20-8, sub 8.
Agree.
Okay, now we all know to read the bottom ones.
We have a motion by Councilmember Demmer. Second by Councilmember Kicker. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 11 is to consider a joint powers agreement with Anoka County for U.S. Highway 10 Congestion Management Planning, Project 19-26. Somebody want to hit the highlights, or do you want me to read all this discussion stuff here?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
Mr.
I can
Hammer.
certainly comment on this. This is the third lane construction on Highway 10 from Hanson Boulevard up to Round Lake Boulevard. The timing on this project kind of was expedited with the idea of trying to get it completed before the bomb hits in Anoka in a couple of years and the Rum River Bridge. So the idea is a little congestion mitigation to give people more opportunity to stay on 10 longer and then kind of cut around up to Bunker and off of Round Lake Boulevard. So working with Anoka County, we started on this late in the summer and we're now into the fall and into preliminary design on this. We had brought it to you in work session before about a cost participation. I think we have a solution that may be favorable to all now, whereby we look at contributing our portion, 50% of this preliminary design and environmental engineering. And since it wasn't budgeted for this year, we would just push that out. We'll budget for it in 2021, and it can become due, I think we mentioned, after January 15th upon being invoiced by Anoka County. So I'm happy to answer any questions beyond that if you have any.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer?
Move to approve the execution of a joint powers agreement with Anoka County for strategic congestion management project on US Highway 10 between Hanson Boulevard and Round Lake Boulevard.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Wells. Councilmember Griscoviac, did you get some updates on the project today?
I did some research on this, and first of all, I mean, this section, Highway 10 splits Coon Rapids. So, I mean, I think it's in all of our constituents' best interest to get that third lane in there. I did some checking, and there is a House file, 3198, that is authored by, it's bipartisan authors, Stevenson, Peggy Scott, John Heinrich, and Aaron Cagle. So that's in the House, that's been introduced. The Senate file, a companion file, is also a bipartisan bill in the House authored by Abler and Hoffman. So I'm thinking that if we contribute to this, we get this preliminary engineering done. We've got all the legislators in the North Metro behind it. It's part of a larger gateway corridor project, and I'm in favor of this. There was one thing in the memo that I'd like to get clarification on. When we had our work session on this, when the county came to us and asked us for our participation share, it was my understanding that if we participate in this Phase 1 engineering section of the project, that we wouldn't then be asked to fund or participate in funding for Phase 2 engineering or the actual construction, because those would be state trunk highway bonded projects. The memo is not exactly clear on that, but that is my understanding. That's what I heard from our county commissioner and the county engineer.
That's what I recall from the workshop too. You actually clearly asked that question, and that's what they responded with.
And Mr. Mayor, if
Mr.
I may,
Hammer?
Councilmember Griscoviac, the request into the legislature is 25 million, which would cover construction and final design. While I may not have been as clear as I could have been in the memo, under Section 2 costs of the development agreement, Phase 2 includes final design. This agreement does not bind the city to any future contributions on this project. However, project stakeholders will evaluate at that time. So within this contract, it says we're not committing to anything going forward in the future, and that's part of the reason for the request, is to cover all of that cost.
Right.
Mr. Stemwedel?
Mayor, Council, and Mr. Him and I had some conversation around this, and I think the reason we left it a little vague on that piece was, yes, I agree, that was the conversation, but it was sort of a what-if scenario. If for some reason funding isn't had, and there were additional conversations down the road about where to go next with this, that, you know, there might be some possibility of that in the future, but right now, as I understand the plan, as Mr. Himmer said, that the funding would be fully secured under the legislative ask this session, and we go from there. And if anything changes, obviously, we're coming back to council and having additional conversations about that.
Right.
Okay. Councilmember Geisler?
Okay, I can't quite hear everybody, so I just wanted to add my comments to this, where I am fully supportive of a third lane on Highway 10. I think that will be great for the city. My concerns are, I don't think, since it is a state highway, it's a regional highway, with the county, that the citizens of Coon Rapids should shoulder 50% of this burden. Plus, then they pay into the county, so there's actually more than 50%. I also think that it leads a precedent to, if there are requests for funding come Phase 2, that we will have set the level that we would be expected to pay at 50%. I'm more than happy to contribute to this, but I think that there should have been a lot more conversation before just, hey, 50%. You know, yes, it's nice that they're letting us pay it in 2021 so we can actually budget for it. But it's for that reason that I'm not going to support the proposal.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this?
I'd like to just weigh in a little briefly on it. You know, I want to express my appreciation to both Commissioners Schulte and Gamache for coming to a workshop and meeting with us and talking through some of these issues. I think it's ironic in a sense that this is kind of coming on tonight's agenda where we're talking about street improvements and we're explaining to people how it's important to participate in the special assessments that are affecting the street and helping us improve the street in front of your own properties. And then we get a project like this, and there's an obvious tension that a lot of us have, because even though Highway 10 is in Coon Rapids and it does benefit us all, and I think there is everybody here on the council that supports a third lane and the expansion of the ability of Highway 10 to handle traffic, we all know that this is a big ask. I mean, it's an over $300,000 request from the city of Coon Rapids to share an expanding Highway 10, when much of that benefits our neighboring communities as well, especially as you look to the north. But the reality is that this is in our neighborhood, just like the streets that are in front of people's houses. And the conversation that we had, I thought was a very healthy one with the county, which is there are going to be times where we're going to have to look back to the county because we have county roads that are coming through the city of Coon Rapids, and we're going to ask them to share in the expense of that as well and to participate with us in good faith. So it is in that spirit of cooperation and compromise that I'm willing to support this. I do think, though, and I did appreciate Councilmember Griskowiak, both at the workshop and tonight, bringing up the issue of, well, what is the expectation in the future for us sharing in these things? And I think it was made pretty clear to us at the workshop that there is no expectation of us to share in additional monies down the road. Now, none of us can foreclose some possibility that there may be a request, and we may then have to evaluate that based on the information we have. But I'm hopeful that that won't happen, and if we do, then we can have a conversation about it. I don't expect that I'll be supporting much more beyond the multi-six-figure number that we're participating in today, and maybe if at that point in time there is more money that's being requested from the city of Coon Rapids, there are others that benefit from Highway 10 as well that might be able to chip in at that point in time if it's necessary. So I intend to support it tonight, but I'm mindful that it's a big amount of money, but I also am mindful that there are other projects down the road that we're going to want to cooperate with the county on and have them share in the cost of those with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? Councilmember Griskowiak?
I would just add that, our participation on this is not setting a new precedent. We did participate on the bridge over Highway 10 at Hanson. We participated to a much higher degree on the overpass on Hanson over the railroad tracks. And this is really gonna, in my opinion, gives us a lot better chance of getting this project done before the work in Anoka takes place. Because if you look at it today, there's already backups in rush hour all the way to Foley Boulevard when you're going west. Now, when you bring that traffic down to a single lane, that's going to extend way out. But many, many of our constituents will get off on Hanson or Main Street or Round Lake with a third lane. It'll just let it flow through there. So I was apprehensive at first when the county came up to us with this request, but talking with some other council members too, where this does benefit to our largest retail center in the region. And if our retail centers are already kind of struggling, and if the traffic even makes it even worse, that's not a good thing. So that's where I came to the realization that I wanted to support this at the funding level that is presented to us tonight.
Councilmember Wells?
I'd like to add that the city was, very pivotal in the Main Street Bridge also, and there was some real vision shown there to spearhead that project, and obviously that's done wonders for the city.
Yeah, I was very apprehensive about this project because the number of cars on 10 that's really a regional value. They end up out west. But at the same time, as you mentioned, our largest retailer, who also happens to be our largest taxpayer, is at the end of where the expansion would be, and you're going, I think this probably makes some sense if we can help fuel this. Plus, there's a precedent with the communities going west from here along Highway 10 as well. Anoka has contributed, Ramsey has contributed, and it just seems to make sense. It would have been nice if we could have gotten that other benefiting community that shall remain nameless to help us out, but, Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes, one nay, one opposed. Councilmember Geisler. And we are to the open mic public comment portion of the meeting. Is anybody here to address council for open mic? No? All right, we'll move past that. We don't have any reports on previous open mics, and we are at other business. What do we have for other business this evening? What was the cutoff for the front door program? The applications the cutoff was March 1st, correct?
Correct, Mayor. The applications are due by March 1st.
Okay. That seemed important. All right. Other business to come before council, Mr. Stemwedel?
I'll just, Mayor and Council, just mention a couple things, both of which actually located on the front page of our city website, but I think were important enough to bring up. One of them is we are looking for several commission members. If folks are interested in serving on a commission, you can find more about commissions that are available on our website right now. In particular, we're looking for members on the Arts Commission, the Board of Adjustment Appeals, Parks and Recreation, Safety and Sustainability. And so there's a number of spots available. And then a more unique opportunity, the Anoka County has actually requested the city, as it does request all cities that are covered by the Coon Creek Watershed District, to suggest names for appointment to the Coon Creek Watershed Board of Directors. It's a bit of a unique process in that the cities make a recommendation, we pass those recommendations on to the county, and they're able to make a selection based off of the recommendations of all the cities. They don't have to necessarily pick just one person from Coon Rapids, but they have the authority to pick from any of those cities as long as those cities give them a valid list. So we're trying to create a valid list, at least to provide the county board to consider. And that information on that process is available on our website as well. And we're looking to have folks submit those applications to us by early March, and I'm losing the date here, but March 6th, Friday, March 6th.
If I could on that one briefly, I served for 4 years on the Coon Creek Watershed District Board of Managers, and I found it to be a very good experience and a good group of people to work with. But one of the things that is troubling to me as I sit here today as a Coon Rapids City Council member is we actually don't have a representative from our city on the Coon Creek Board of Managers, and I would like to have that representation, but there are other cities that have extra representation on the board, and so anybody in Coon Rapids who is interested, who wants to be engaged in the community and wants to deal with water issues and water quality issues and is mindful of those things, I think it would be a good experience for them.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, we hit 40 last weekend, I believe it was, and we're looking at close to 40 again this coming weekend. What does that mean for the golf course? What's going on out there?
Mayor, council, that means people are getting excited about spring, right? So we have a new website. That's one of the things I was eager to mention if I had the opportunity tonight. So thank you for that opportunity. We have a new website, bunkerhillsgolf.com. And a few opportunities on there are for people to purchase their memberships or patron cards through our new online store. We like having them come in this time of year. It reminds us of our customers, and we haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you, sir. But from the convenience of your living room or your smartphone, you can now purchase your memberships online on our website, and all of the information for the 2020 Junior Golf Program at Bunker Hills is also on the website, and registration information as well. Also, at the event center, I want to remind folks of the Daddy-Daughter Dance, which is March 6th. Tickets can be purchased at bunkerhillseventcenter.com. But if we continue to get some 40-degree temperatures, I will say that the driving range has a great chance of opening, so stay tuned about that as well.
I still have a picture in my phone of you with the snowblower out there blowing it off a couple of years ago.
We'll take every chance we can to get the place open, that's for sure.
All right, Chief Piper.
Mayor, Council, this Saturday up at Crooked Lake is the Fuller Plunge to benefit Special Olympics, and I'm just looking at the website right now. They've raised $100,000 so far, and their goal is $160,000, and it looks like the jumpers start at 1 o'clock, and so if you would like to participate, you feel free to.
Boy, if there ever was a year at 40 degrees, this would be the year. Ms. Lensmeyer, are we still looking for election judges?
Mr. Mayor, I am. So anybody interested, please get a hold of us here at City Hall in the clerk's office.
Perfect. All right. Any other business to come before council this evening? Councilmember Demmer?
I had one that I missed because I was on vacation for the first meeting, but I always try to do a summary of how many patents Coon Rapids people got. And I'm like a month late, but 130 patents were issued in 2019 by Coon Rapids authors. So just remind everyone we live in a city full of really smart people who work in really cool industries. There's one guy who's almost got 100.
Say you?
No.
Thank
No.
you.
No. But I'm gonna make sure to point it out when that happens.
Okay. Any other business to come before council this evening? All right, hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Wells to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.